Ride along each week as we share proven strategies to strengthen your business, energize your team, and create the business success you've been dreaming about. And now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Do your team members play the "I'm right, you're wrong" game? Welcome to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up Podcast, where our one and only goal is to help you tune up your business so you can have the long-lasting success and fulfillment that comes from owning a solid, profitable, and sustainable business. Each week we dive deep into a single topic related to improving your business, improving your team engagement, or improving your relationship with your customers. Last week I shared my concerns about how some business owners respond when their customers are dissatisfied. Clearly I struck a nerve, because I got some direct feedback from some business owners asking if I was talking about them. It's not exactly the response I'd hoped for, but at least I got their attention. I hope you found the topic helpful, and if you got some thoughts or feedback for me, I'd love to hear it. I do this weekly podcast for you, not for me, so getting your feedback on what matters most is always helpful and welcomed. This week, I want to address another situation that seems to come up far too frequently. This one has to do with how your team members react and respond to others on your team. My question for you this week is, do your team members play the "I'm right, you're wrong" game? You're probably familiar with this game. You've probably seen it play out between your team members. And you may even have been a player in the game from time to time. This is the game where when two people disagree on how to handle a situation, or they have different opinions on what the focus or priority should be, they begin to take sides on the issue. In this game, each person makes their best argument for why their perspective or viewpoint or opinion is the right one, and they position themselves as being right, which naturally positions anyone who opposes them as being wrong. If you've been tuned into any of the political news lately, you can't listen or watch anything for 10 minutes before you can see this game being played by grown adults who should know better, but they can't help themselves. They are so determined to show the world that they are right and their opponent is wrong that they'll go to any length to make their point and bury their competitor. It's why so many of us would never think of going into politics. It's driven by mean, hurtful, and downright juvenile behavior. But just because that's the way it is in politics doesn't mean that's how it must be in your business. In politics, people love to take sides. But in your business, your team members should be on the same side. But far too often I see behavior that's anything but constructive, and oftentimes team members take sides against one another. I'm not sure what the root cause is. It may be jealousy or envy, but no matter the root cause, as the business owner, this kind of behavior must not be tolerated in your culture. So how do you get rid of the "I'm right, you're wrong" attitude in your business? My preferred approach is to change the game we're playing. Rather than allowing team members to play the "I'm right, you're wrong" game, I want you to introduce them to the "yes and" game. It's a different way of processing conflicts or disagreements, and in the end, the result is often a much better solution to a situation or problem than you could have ever come to on your own. Here's how it works. If someone raises a concern or an issue with the business, a customer, or even another team member, you make note of the concern and bring it to the next team meeting. If you're like most business owners, your team gets together at least weekly, whether in person or by video conference. During the next team meeting, bring up the concern to the entire team and ask them to play the "yes and" game with you. The game is simple and it can be very fun to play. It starts when you state the concern or issue that someone has raised to you. Then you tell the team that anyone and everyone can comment or engage in the discussion of the specific concern, but their comment must begin with yes and, meaning they need to be willing to accept the previous comment made and build on it rather than tear it down. For example, if a concern is raised that some team members aren't answering the phone quickly enough, then as a team, the responses must be in the form of a statement that could resolve the concern, and each subsequent statement must build upon the one that was made initially. By applying the yes and framework, everyone feels heard and acknowledged, and I've found that the final result is far more comprehensive and far more achievable, and the acceptance from the team is much more likely. This approach works well with process breakdowns, with systems issues, with team engagement issues, and even with customer satisfaction concerns. It turns out that resolving conflicts in your business doesn't need to put your team members on opposite sides of an issue. And if done well, the yes and framework will get everyone on your team into problem-solving mode rather than allowing them to stay in victim mode. I'll admit that sometimes your team members will get stuck and not be able to think of options that will work in the yes and way of thinking. So in some cases, you may need to jump in and throw out the first idea to get the ball rolling. You may even find that if you raise a concern that has bothered you, but has not yet become an issue or concern to others, you'll get more buy-in for making positive change when you allow and encourage everyone to participate in the yes and dialogue. There's power in allowing and requiring your team members to wallow in and think deeply about issues and concerns that must be resolved to make your business better. This may be a great exercise to practice during your next team meeting. Think of a single issue or concern that you'd like to see changed in your business and bring it before your entire team the next time you get together. Share the idea of the yes and concept and allow them to chew on that specific issue. As they continue to add layers to their yes and responses, simply write them down. In the end, I'm confident that you'll have several great ideas that will help you resolve the concern and improve your business as a result. And as a bonus extra, your team members will feel like they solved the problem, rather than waiting for you to simply give them their next assignment. It's time to stop playing games the way we played them in the sandbox, where someone always got hurt because there were always winners and losers. In business, we've got to create a culture where we only win, and we do it as a team, not as individuals. If you need some help getting started in this area, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Creating a team-oriented workplace is perhaps the most important thing you can do for the success and enjoyment of your business. Don't allow your team members to play the I'm right, you're wrong game, and teach them how to play the yes and game. You'll be very glad you did. Now, before we go, 2 quick asks. Share this podcast with your fellow business owners. I'm trying to get these free business tips to as many business owners as possible. I want every business owner to be successful, and this is my gift to you and to them. Thanks for passing this along. And lastly, please leave a review on this podcast. The more thumbs up this podcast gets, the more it will be found when someone's stuck or struggling and looking for advice. Your review can help make this happen. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss your onboarding process. You won't want to miss it. Meanwhile, if you have a question, suggestion, or would simply like to connect, shoot me an email at rich@tourtoprofit.com. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, find more resources at tourtoprofit.com and connect with Rich by sending a message to rich@tourtoprofit.com. Until next time, ride hard.